Niveditha Praveen was born in South India. She is an author, blogger, and professional. She is managing a software company that deals in digital and print publishing. She has spent the last few years reading and writing novels of her own. She currently lives in Mumbai with her family. She has explored living across different Indian cities like Goa, Mangalore, and Pune for her career. Her interests are blogging, sketching, listening to breakbeat music, and self learning new technologies. Life is Too Short is her first independently published book, and Live Yet Another Day is her newly launched book that was just launched in February. And she's currently preparing a paperback launch of Live Yet Another Day, which will be live this month.
You know me, I am Niveditha Praveen, and I'm an Indian author. So authorship is a separate story, but initially my domain is more into publishing from last 13 years. I've been in the IT industry. I'm a computer science graduate myself. So writing itself has been part of my journey, I think from 12. When I was 12, I started writing some short stories and whatever. Publishing is a different story. I just kept it to myself. And then I 4 years ago, I started publishing my books. So that was the first time when I wrote a romance crime mystery novel at that time. And because I'm paralleling it, along with my day's job, I can't continuously write. So this time I got an opportunity from a publisher who came to me. He read my previous book, and then he reached out to me through one of the common friend or something. And then then he gave me a topic based on which he wanted me to write. So that's when I decided that okay, I should probably write the second book as well. So I recently launched my second book, which is Live Yet Another Day.
Very cool. And I was reading a little bit about your bio, and you said you've lived in several different places around like India and stuff. Is that right?
Yes,
That's
right,
pretty
right.
cool.
That's because of my career, of course. So I was born in South India, but I'd been brought up in Mumbai most of the time. So that's towards the west of India. And then for my career, I had to really relocate multiple places. So after every 2.5 years, 3 years, I had to relocate, initially for training for a few months, and then for my first job, I had to work completely towards the south of India. So I had visited places because of those reasons mainly. And then finally I'm here. I had been in Goa for around 5 years. If you know that place, it's more of a Indian touristic destination. So
Oh, very cool. And how have all those experiences and your traveling and everything, how has that tied into your writing?
yeah. Sure, they are all related, I would say. And when we live outside our home, we definitely get to learn quite a lot. We fumble initially for very small things as well, and then we right from very minimalistic things. You learn a lot. You learn to cook. You learn to keep your house clean. You learn to save your money, and there's so many things that you do. So of course, going out of my house was definitely, and in India, it's not very common to do that. Generally people tend to cling to their families and live close to them in the same city and so on. So but but with my case it was automatically different. I had no other choice. Obviously my job demanded me to stay at different locations. So I was quite happy about it. And relating that to my writing process, yes, indeed, my latest book is also more focusing about Goa. So the place where I lived in, I had connected my travel experiences as well together. So yes, they all relate and come out.
Thank you. And I can't remember if you said this, when you finished writing your first book, what did the publication process look like? Was it challenging? Did you decide to do self-publishing, traditional publishing? What did that look like to get it actually published?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was really a very confusing journey initially, because that was my first novel, right? And first novel is very overwhelming when it comes to publishing. Initially I decided to self-publish, so I went through a publishing site, and there were some options to DIY your publishing and so on. So I started working on that, and then I realized that there are of course a few things which we won't be probably able to do ourselves at that point in time, when I was not sure of the the formatting, interior formatting, and the best cover practices and so on. So I was not very apt at it. So then I also got a contact of the publishing agency at that time. So I spoke to them and I found out what are the options they have, what do they provide to me in the publishing field. So that's when I decided that for the first book, at least I would go with with my publisher rather than doing it everything on my own, because I'm still in the learning phase. So I went through a publisher at that time.
Okay, there's a lot to
But my
learn.
latest book, yeah, yes, definitely. But in the latest book, I have done most of the things myself. Like I said, I got a publisher who is into ebook publishing, actually. So he had done my Amazon Kindle publishing, and also in some other portals, Google Books and Scribed. So he had published everything from that part. But coming to paperback publishing, that publisher is not into paperback at all so far. So I'm right now doing everything on my own for KDP. And the challenge that I am facing right now is I have everything ready for KDP publishing, and I would probably do it in this week mostly. But it will be available live on amazon.com.co.uk and all those regions, but it is not in amazon.in. It doesn't support India so far. So I have to look for some other distributor for my own country. So that's the second challenge I am facing right now.
Yeah, I didn't realize that they didn't distribute in India. That's interesting.
Yeah, they don't distribute that. Even I realized pretty late when that was my first click that I would go with KDP because I have everything I need. I also worked on my book cover all along with the help of one of my friend who is into this UX designing and so on. So everything was ready, and when I was almost about to publish, I realized that okay, these people do not distribute in India, and then I have to hunt for some other publisher for that now.
Well, good luck with that. I hope that you can find something that's affordable and that works really well for you.
Exactly. Hopefully, yeah.
And after you published your first book, what sorts of things did you do to share the book and spread the word about the book?
Yes. So at that time, initially, I just created most of the things myself. Like I created some review videos of mine, whatever reviews I received from people. I also gave some copies of my book to some people I know, and then I shared some. I hunted for some ARC readers. I gave them because, of course, people whom you know would give you some biased reviews. I believe so. I had to look for people who can give me some authentic reviews. So I went into Goodreads. I found some people from BookBub, and I spoke to them. And then I got some authentic reviews from there, so which also helped me in understanding what is better, what is slightly off, and I have to rectify it. So that way, and then I spent some money obviously on for Facebook ads at that time, and again it was a trial and error. So initially I realized that okay, this works and this doesn't. It took quite a lot of time, getting into all that. But hey, come on, that's 3 years ago, and now things are a lot different, and now we learn, adapt, and we know probably what were our mistakes.
Yeah, so like if you could go back and republish that, or since you have published new books now, what would you do differently?
Yeah. You mean republish the first book you're saying?
Yeah, or like what, so I guess the question is, if somebody's trying to publish their book for the first time, what advice would you give them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. First of all, about the writing thing itself, when they start the book, they really should talk about the book to a lot of people and try to understand the market needs also. Of course, you are into writing for your passion, but eventually you will have to sell it as well. So you need to understand what genre works well or whatnot. And then in any case, you need to talk about a book quite a lot so that people know that you are into this, and it's also good to connect with readers. In the meantime, you yourself become a reader, I would say, because that will always be a win-win situation. It would come into your writing anyway, the creative skills, as well as during the journey of reading, you can also leave some reviews additionally. So this way you can grow some organic readership, I believe, until you are publishing. And once you have published, then at least you will have some ground to get started with. And then obviously after publishing, I would say you need to consider the book cover, spend some money on editing your book, because whatever we write, the editing is mandatory, I believe, irrespective of how well we write. And then the most, I mean, I would say don't spend money too much on trial and errors and unnecessary things. Better talk to people who have already done that, and find out what works best for most of them. And I would say spend more on organic promotions, like sales funnels maybe, or grow your email list, and try to work more on that, rather than just pushing some ads, and that would just be for that day and gone. So there's no permanent stuffs going on. So getting some blog posts, reviews is more effective or efficient, I would say.
Thank you. I'd agree with the organic stuff, because we can spend a lot of money on ads and waste a lot of money on ads right up front, especially if we don't know exactly. Yeah.
Right. That's what, and everybody mostly does this to understand how it looks very small when you start with, say, okay, it's just $1 a day. But then when you realize that you spend $50 but nothing works, so it's of no use, right, doing that thing.
Yeah, it adds up really quickly.
Right.
Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you'd like to share, or did you want to share one of your specific books and talk a little bit more about it for readers who might be interested in reading one of your books?
Yeah, so I think about my book, about my recent book, it's more from a woman's vision, right? It's her story of love, then it's a mix of her journey towards, from her starting from her college days till till her career, and how she falls in love, how she comes out of some beliefs that she earlier thought would be right. And I think if you're a travel freak, or if you love to travel, this book is definitely going to be a series starter for these people, because I have really, like I said in the beginning, that it has some plots of Goa, which is worth reading. So it's I would say it's a book of romance and travel memoir. So it's best combined that way. I don't want to give some loopholes here, but yeah, it's best. It would be a good weekend read, I would say.
Oh, great. Thank you.